Hello and welcome. I'm just going to be talking about the first episode of Landscapers in this video, so there will be no spoilers beyond that. In 2004, a married couple, Susan and Christopher Edwards, were convicted of murder and sentenced to a 25-year minimum prison sentence, and to this day, they maintain their innocence. We're told this even before the events of episode 1 unfold, so this is based on a true story, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a whodunit, so I'm already intrigued. Susan and Chris live in France, and their life seems rather peaceful, but you can tell that something is slightly off. Chris is looking for a job, and it's not going very well. He can barely speak any French. Susan loves old cinema, westerns particularly, and she spends money on a movie poster at a memorabilia shop where she's a regular. At first she might look like a well-off retiree, but we see that she has several credit cards all arranged in a strange way, which gave me the feeling that there could either be some potential fraud happening, or this couple is seriously in the red. Later, Chris is in the park after another disastrous job interview when he takes out a letter seemingly written to him personally by the actor Gerard Depardieu, but the content of the letter is narrated by his wife, which might suggest that she's the one writing these letters to him. At first I couldn't really tell if she was just a kind of quirky, eccentric lady, or if she was more a Professor Umbridge type, a sweet lady with a potentially sociopathic streak. I'm leaning towards the former though. She seems oddly fragile, and we'll hear Chris refer to her this way as well. He does what he can to not let her down, he often says, even though we can see that he's not coping well under the pressure of being unemployed with their money running out. Because Susan is almost pathologically optimistic, Chris struggles to share his real feelings in a way that she can understand them. He suggests calling family to borrow money, but Susan refuses, saying that if they do, they'll have to explain that they are in France, and they'll also need to explain why they're there. I found their dynamic as a couple so fascinating because I think she needs him to keep this kind of illusion that they're a normal couple living this charmed little life in France, and that they can outrun their past. I'm not sure how she'd be able to cope otherwise. I think he needs her so that he can kind of be her protector and kind of live this dream with her, even though he does have one foot in reality and realizes that they're in trouble. They really do love each other in an odd kind of codependent but also really tender way, and because of this I felt like I could relate to Susan a bit. I kind of wanted to ignore the nasty murder business because I like these two, and I almost find myself feeling sorry for them. There's this saying though that the wheels of justice turn slowly but grind exceedingly fine. So yeah, 15 years after the fact, we know what's coming, because they did commit a crime after all. Chris eventually makes the call to his stepmother Tabitha, and he says that he's done something bad and Tabitha can't tell the police. We get his confession in Tabitha's voice as she calls the police to explain. Tabitha tells them that her stepson told her that he buried his wife's parents in the garden of their home 15 years ago. The police start to investigate. They talk to the neighbors who lived next door to Susan's parents back then and still live there now. The man Nigel mentions that once they looked out of the window and saw Chris digging a hole, and they joked at the time that he was burying his in-laws. It's a strange, delightful and hilarious moment with all of that awkward British politeness. Anyway, the police eventually released the information to the public that they found the bodies, and because this is such a bizarre case, word spreads and interest picks up really quickly. As the investigation heats up, the couple decides to return to England with the intention of proving their innocence. And that's episode 1 of Landscapers. I have seen episode 2, and Olivia's performance actually made me cry. She's just so good in this, they both are. The second episode is shot in the style of a western, and it's so strange that this works, but it does. The absolute last thing I need in my life right now is another TV show to watch, but this show is irresistible, so I'm absolutely going to be streaming this, and I would highly recommend it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.